We can now say goodbye to the Spirit of Peoria. Last night, Peoria City Council voted to waive their rights to be the first to purchase back the boat. WMBD's Sheridan Hertig attended that meeting where she saw how heated things got between the council members.
An end of an era and saying goodbye to a Peoria landmark. In an 8-3 vote, council members Zachary Euler, Beth Jensen, and Chuck Graham wanting to keep the Spirit of Peoria in the city.
We've spent way too much time talking about this being a business and not what a legacy piece this is to us and what it means to who we are.
But others on the council voting nay to keep Peoria taxpayers from paying $1 million to keep the boat.
We know we're a river town. We know we are, we have the Peoria Rivermen. I mean, the river is in our DNA. And I think the challenge that we have here right now is making just the best decision on behalf of the taxpayers.
Captain of the boat, Alice Grady, giving an emotional testament to keep the landmark.
I myself have performed over a dozen marriages on the boat. I have witnessed many proposals. I have met my own fiance through the work, and he proposed to me in the galley at one of the busiest times of a night during a murder mystery cruise.
But it just wasn't enough to keep the Spirit of Peoria on the riverfront. Reporting in Peoria, Sheridan Hertig, WMBD News.
The current lease for the boat to be on the riverfront expires at the end of April. The council also voted to defer the final vote to rebuild the St. Jude Catholic Church on Knoxville with a new bell tower alongside it to April 12th. And President Joe Biden heads to Brussels today. The president took to Twitter yesterday outlining his trip to Europe. President Biden will meet with allies. The trip marks 1 month since Putin began the war in Ukraine. Biden's first stop is in Belgium, where he'll meet with NATO allies, G7 and European Union leaders. The world leaders will discuss supporting Ukraine and imposing severe costs on Russia for its invasion. After his trip to Belgium, the president will head to Poland to meet with the country's president there. And a bipartisan group of senators are back from Poland and Germany to learn more about how the U.S. can better support the region as Russia's invasion intensifies. Iowa Senator Joni Ernst says Ukraine's biggest need to continue its defense against Russia is faster delivery of new lethal weapons. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand says the U.S. should also impose more sanctions on Russia and declare President Putin and his commanders war criminals. Texas Republican John Cornyn and Virginia Democrat Mark Warner hope the president's trip deters Putin from expanding the war to surrounding countries, which Cornyn says are already struggling to help the millions of refugees in their care. And civilian casualties are rising as the war rages in Ukraine. This comes as Biden officials have now determined Vladimir Putin's forces have committed war crimes since the invasion started. The Ukrainian health minister confirmed at least 10 healthcare facilities have been destroyed since the war began. Over the past several weeks, an art school and a maternity hospital were also targeted by Russian airstrikes. President Biden will get that first-hand look at the massive humanitarian crisis as he heads to Brussels today. More than 3.5 million refugees have now fled Ukraine, and the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv is accusing Russian troops of forcibly deporting thousands of Ukrainian children to Russia. And turning gears to the latest steps for future relief at the pump, a group of oil and gas trade groups now reaching out to the president on their willingness to lower gas prices, agreeing the country's energy security is at risk. Meanwhile, they point the finger towards the administration for higher prices due to their energy policies, adding onshore oil leases could be approved to help reduce costs. Many leases are being litigated by environmental groups or hung up in approvals. And to hold the major oil companies accountable, U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth is preparing to file legislation aiming to stop price gouging of gas in the U.S. I spoke with Senator Duckworth yesterday afternoon, where she laid out her Gas Price Gouging Prevention Act. The bill would give President Biden the authority to issue a proclamation of an international crisis affecting the oil markets, where it would make it unlawful for any person to sell gasoline at a price that is, quote, excessive and indicates the seller is taking unfair advantage of the circumstances related to an international crisis to increase prices unreasonably. This interview will air on WMBD this morning on Friday. And looking around Illinois now, a scary situation at an Illinois courthouse Tuesday. The Adams County Sheriff's Office reported that the county courthouse had to be evacuated Tuesday morning due to a bomb threat. Crews searched the perimeter and said the scene was clear. The courtroom reopened yesterday at 1 in the afternoon. And from our Twin Cities newsroom, the McLean County Sheriff's Office will be running a traffic detail between Gridley and Towanda. Deputies want the public to know they'll have squad cars on Gridley Blacktop at 1925 East Road and County Highway 29. The Facebook post reads, quote, "We'd much rather give advance warning than issue tickets, but speeding has been an ongoing issue on this road," end quote.